Doug Kyed here at New Era Field with Zack We're from Nelson.com. And late breaking news last night, Trey Flowers, Patriots' top pass rusher, really their top defensive lineman, will not be playing in this game. He suffered a rib injury there in Week 12. So that's a pretty big loss for the Patriots. They'll have to rely on some young players at defensive end. Eric Lee, who was just signed off the Bills practice squad a couple weeks ago, Dietrich Wise, Adam Butler, maybe some linebackers. How do you just see simply this affecting the Patriots defense?
Well, it's a big loss, and it's a bit of a surprising loss, too, because, I mean, Trey Flowers did leave that game last week with the rib injury, but he talked to reporters after the game, which usually is a pretty good indication that he is feeling not too bad. I mean, it's an indication that it's a minor injury. And then he practiced all week, albeit in a limited capacity. And I was expecting to see him out here today, but then the news comes down last night that he will not play. And like you said, he's their best pass rusher. He's might be one of their best defensive players with Dante Hightower out. And yeah, it's a huge loss. It's going to be a lot of kind of names that a lot of football fans haven't really heard of that are going to have to step up, like an Eric Lee, like a Dietrich Wise, who really came on strong early in the year, hasn't made much of an impact in recent weeks. Even a guy like Gino Grissom, who just got recalled from the practice squad, has been a solid special teamer in years past, but hasn't really done a whole lot on defense. He might be asked to play some defensive end, so it's going to be a big ripple effect around this entire defense.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's especially tough this week against Tyrod Taylor just because he's such a good running quarterback, and you need such good discipline there at defensive end when you're setting the edge. You don't want to get too far upfield. You don't want to over-pursue against Tyrod Taylor. And when you're talking about guys who have basically barely played in the NFL, and Eric Lee, Dietrich Wise, Adam Butler, and Gino Grissom, those are guys who might not be quite as disciplined as a Trey Flowers type, but it's pretty amazing how much this Patriots pass rush has been banged up this season, or just all the bad luck they've had there. Derek Rivers is on injured reserve, Shane McClellan's on injured reserve, Harvey Longy's on injured reserve, Rob Ninkovich retired, Cassius Marsh trade didn't work out, Coney Ely trade didn't work out, so now with Flowers down, you're really talking about a lot of very inexperienced players.
Yeah, they're down to some of their 9th, 10th, 11th options down there. And in this game, like you said, Tyrod Taylor is a mobile quarterback, one of the more mobile quarterbacks the Patriots will see this season. And they struggled against those kind of quarterbacks early in the year. They played Cam Newton, played Deshaun Watson, really weren't able to kind of corral him. They were getting good pressure on him, but couldn't bring him down. I wouldn't even be surprised if Bill Belichick just chooses to dial the pass rush back even more with the numbers that he has today. Just saying, just get up there and make sure Tyrod doesn't get around you. Just keep him in the pocket, make him beat you with his arm, not with his legs. And because they don't really have the bodies at the position right now to really get after him.
Yeah, and there are some other injuries, of course, on the Patriots. Trevor Riley, the linebacker, was ruled out at the same time as Trey Flowers. Riley's another one of those edge guys. You can play linebacker, can play defensive end a little bit. So that's a loss on special teams and on defense. Chris Hogan was ruled out, and Marcus Cannon, starting right tackle, was ruled out. So that's 4 guys right there that are not playing this game. A couple more guys who are questionable who might not suit up. We haven't seen Matthew Slater lately. We haven't seen Eric Rowe in about half the season at this point.
7 games now, yeah.
So if those guys are out too, then maybe we'll see the return of Mike Gillislee back where he was playing last season with the Bills. That would be, I don't know how much he would be used at running back, but it would be a nice little boost there to get him back against the team that he played for last season.
Yeah, and some other big names on that questionable list too. Adrian Waddle. If he can't go, that means Cameron Fleming starting at right tackle. Basically, their third option in that position too. Kyle Van Noy's questionable. If they lose him and Trey Flowers in one game, that really taxes their defense. And there's definitely a lot of
David Andrews too, the center. Andrews, he's been out with the illness. He returned to practice, but I mean, if the guy lost too much weight with an illness, then you really want to put him out there.
Yeah, a lot of uncertainty coming into this game for the Patriots.
Absolutely. The Patriots did make some roster moves as well on Saturday afternoon. They waived Ricky Jean-Francois, which is a bit of a surprise. They also waived Jason King, offensive lineman. I think we all saw that one coming.
Not a surprise.
No. To replace them, they signed Gino Grissom, as you mentioned, off the practice squad. They also signed Bernard Reedy, a wide receiver. And I was pretty surprised by this, honestly, because the Patriots have been willing to roll with basically just 3 wide receivers ever since Chris Hogan went down with a shoulder injury. Now they've signed a wide receiver off the practice squad. Maybe they were just waiting for this guy to get acclimated to this team, learn the playbook, or maybe they're finally willing to spell some key offensive playmakers on special teams because they have Dion Lewis, their top ball carrier, returning kicks. They have Danny Amendola, their top slot receiver, returning punts. Bernard Reedy has a history of doing both, so maybe we'll see him in both roles. Maybe we'll see him in one role. I think at the very least it makes sense for him to return kicks because you don't want Dion Lewis getting hurt before the playoff run.
I agree. And I mean, I'd even probably put him back in punts, too, because Bill Belichick said earlier this year that he doesn't want to put a player back there who doesn't have experience. But Reedy had extensive experience with the Buccaneers earlier this season. He barely played at all as a wide receiver, but he was their top kick and punt returner. And with Danny Amendola finally healthy now, he was removed from the injury report this week. We all know how injury-prone he is, and Patriots fans really don't like seeing him back there on those punts because it seems like all of his injuries end up happening on punt returns. So if they can take him and Lewis, just let him sit on the sideline just for those danger plays and have another guy in there who can do it. It's not some scrub coming off the street. Then I think that would really help them out.
Yeah, maybe even just as a trial run up until the playoffs, because in the playoffs you could stick Lewis and Amendola back out there and see if they, you can make them last until the Super Bowl if the Patriots make it there this year. But on this field, Tom Brady, quarterback, has had a ton of success. Patriots tight end Rob Gronkowski has had a ton of success. I chalk this up to the fact that they basically just don't play very good Bills teams. Do you think there's anything more to it for those guys?
With Gronk, you never know. You never know because Gronk is obviously a Buffalo area native. This is his hometown. I could see Gronk getting a little extra amped up to come back out here and play. And whatever it is, he's been fantastic whenever he plays here. I think you said earlier, he's averaging over 100 yards a game if you take out his rookie year. But even if you don't take out his rookie year, I think in 6 games here, he's 35 catches, upward of 500 yards, 7 touchdowns. He's just been incredibly explosive every time he comes up here. And with the way he's playing so far this year, there's no real reason to expect he'll be any different today.
No, absolutely not. And the Patriots do have a chance to extend their road game-winning streak in this game. Tom Brady can do some kind of amazing things in this game. If he throws 3 touchdowns or more, then he will be 3rd in this stadium's history in touchdown passes. And with a win, I believe he's 3rd in this stadium's history in wins. And that's behind Jim Kelly and Joe Ferguson, both of whom played here forever for what seems like. So no one else since Jim Kelly has been able to replicate the success that Tom Brady has had on this field. And that's just pretty ridiculous.
That was the stat of the week, that Tom Brady is the winningest quarterback here over the last 12 years. And that includes the Bills quarterbacks who play here. So Tom Brady typically has success against the entire AFC East, but his games against Buffalo are particularly dominant.
Definitely. Any final thoughts here before we get ready to watch this semi-intriguing matchup? I think the Patriots are going to win this game, but I'm not sure if they'll cover the line. I think it could be a little closer than some people expect, especially with Trey Flowers out of this game.
I would agree. I want to see what the rest of the inactive list looks like when it comes out at 11:30. See which of those questionable guys are in and which ones are out, and then we'll see if we see maybe see Mike Gillislee back here. If he comes in, if he's active in this game, maybe he'll come out with a little chip on his shoulder. I mean, both from being a healthy scratch for 3 weeks in a row and this being his old team, he might come out with some fire if he gets into this game.
I said it last night on NESN television. I think that Kyle Van Noy is the key player in this game, just because he'll probably be asked to do a lot of things: rush the passer, contain Tyrod Taylor. If the Patriots will be able to get any pass rush, it might be coming out of Kyle Van Noy. Any other key guy that you see stepping up in this game?
Dietrich Wise, too. I mean, we haven't seen him much over the last couple of weeks. I mean, he's been playing and he's been fine, but he hasn't been kind of the disruptive player that we saw both in the preseason and early in his rookie season, in his first 5 or 6 games. I'd be looking for him to kind of step up and elevate himself back to that level with Trey Flowers out.
So we'll get going here. We'll see everything that transpires in the pregame. Follow us on NESN.com. Follow Zack Cox at Zack Cox NESN on Twitter. Follow me at Doug Kyed. And this field might kind of turn into a reunion before the game, because I think there's 6 or 7 former Patriots on the Bills. There's 5 former Bills on the Patriots. So might see some friendly handshakes before the game that turn into hits and football things during the game. So lots of football things happening. Maybe some non-football things being thrown on the field as well. You never know with Buffalo. But that will do it for us here at New Era Field. Stay on NESN.com for all of your Patriots coverage.